Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm your hospitality friend Glenn, and today we have got the numbers of what's going on in the hotel construction pipeline in Europe and the Middle East. But first, hey, I want to thank my friends over at Actabl. Actabl, you know they give you the power to profit. And check them out at actabl.com or help with your budgeting needs at hoteldata.com. Hoteldata.com. All right, so I could make up some numbers, but I figured for this show, we're going to go with real numbers. That's why I got our friend Bruce Ford, SVP of Lodging Econometrics, back to take us through the lodging pipeline. That is, if he's polite to me today.
Well, Glenn, I don't know. I mean, we recently have secured the travel plans for the Jets.
Yeah.
They don't have anything to do this holiday season. Okay. And so
Uh,
it is what it is.
hey, yeah, it's a rebuilding decade.
But century.
Yeah.
Um, we were 3-14 for 2 seasons, so
All
all
right.
glory to my New England Patriots.
All right. So let's move on to the pipeline because we're limited on time. Bruce Ford, what is the big story going on in the EMEA region, Europe and the Middle East?
So, mostly, okay, is the story about full service hotel construction. Reading the top 2 lines of this report, which really signals the 4-star and above hospitality projects, you can see the total construction pipeline is substantial for full service,
Yeah, it sure is.
nearly 950 projects. Okay.
That's not considerably different than what we've experienced here in the United States, where you've told us time and time again, full service projects are a function of new infrastructure coming, like stadiums, where the Jets lose. Yeah, go on.
Yes, 100%. Or Hudson Yards, where they didn't build the Jet Stadium.
Right.
So now they just build luxury hotels there instead. Okay.
All right. So
Uh,
more full service looks like a robust luxury pipeline too.
It is absolutely, almost 60% of the luxury projects across the world are, in fact, in development in the Middle East
Wow.
and Europe and Africa. Now, substantially, this is a result of new high-rate markets. Luxury hotels don't necessarily go into those second-tier cities, but the first-tier cities, they continue to fill them up. And in many cases in Europe, we're looking at the second location in those major markets for some of those luxury brands. So, substantially, this is a place that's on the map for luxury locations,
Mhm.
upper upscale locations. Of course, we've had quite a few new brands in those areas. Not all of these hotels are 500 room monstrosities,
Yeah.
but certainly as we get down towards the Middle East, the hotels get larger and of more scale and taller. Um, and we continue to see those developments throughout the Middle East in the oil nations.
Yeah, I think
Now,
about all projects. I think about the Win Al Marjan project.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So substantially, okay, this is really construction that's scheduled to occur and open is occurring now, but opening in 27 and in 28. Okay. So this is a
Right.
result of how long it takes to build a hotel today. It not only takes longer to plan, but it takes longer to actually build it. Average time of construction has extended out some 9 to 11 months during the pandemic. So if it took 3 years to build a luxury hotel, it's now close to 4 once it begins construction.
Wow, that's a big difference. So that really explains why we aren't seeing as much this year, but we're going to be seeing a lot more scheduled openings in 26, 27. And it's interesting. You were saying earlier, I'd love a little bit more context about how Europe kind of follows what we see here in the United States.
Pretty common that Europe is 6 to 10 to 12 months behind the United States in terms of the trends here.
Yep.
So we have seen a substantial pickup in new project announcements, building the pipeline to get ready. Also, we have seen a substantial conversion and renovation growth throughout the European markets as they've kind of reached the plateau or are about to climb onto the plateau, Glenn,
Yeah.
that we've been talking about for a few shows. Okay.
Yeah.
The plateau is here. Nirvana's performing in London next week.
Yeah. All right. So yeah,
So
I go on.
Breaking down a little bit further on Europe also, as they continue to spread the pipeline across the chain scales, you'll notice a little bit more distribution as we look specifically at Europe versus the broader Europe, Middle East, and Africa. You'll see more pipeline projects in the lower tier chain scales as we continue to see those motels and suburban areas built out throughout the European nations.
I got a question for you on unbranded hotels because Europe has typically been a more of an independent-minded market, but you've taught me over time that a lot of hotels are unbranded until they're not. What's the situation with these types of unbranded hotels in Europe, generally speaking?
Well, we get a lot of homegrown brands in Europe. So in some cases, these are the second or third or fifth location for some of these brands that ultimately they become recognized into a chain scale.
Right.
Additionally to that, Europe also has that unique aspect of hip and cool and boutique that what no one else had 20 years ago. They always had it. So you're going to continue to see some of those unique uh, very cutting edge, very innovative, very tech driven, very environmentally wellness driven type brands that kind of build themselves up to a few locations before they have substantial recognition.
That makes a lot of sense. So if I was to expand the Houseman Resort Pool Club and Smokehouse, but I only had like another location, I wouldn't really be considered a branded hotel. There's some sort of
Correct.
sold that you're thinking of.
Yeah,
That, that's an interesting distinction.
it takes some core supply to be able to get recognized into a chain scale typically.
Yeah.
So throughout Europe, we see a building pipeline. We see a growth that has started. They're pulling themselves up onto the plateau in terms of kind of just settling in on operating performance for a little while and getting their investments lined up for the future. In the Middle East, we've seen more projects already kind of underway,
Right.
but some of that opening is happening in 26, some more substantially in 27. But we have so many large projects throughout the Middle East that they're just kind of moving a little bit slower.
Right.
Okay.
But that
And
tends to be what we've been seeing generally speaking, particularly here in the United States, where you sign a deal and then you wait and then you wait and then you kind of wait. Is that
That's
right?
it. Yeah, well, as we know in the Middle East, they have a penchant for we open 20 minutes before the demand shows up.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and we know that 2028 is kind of a bellwether year across that region. Substantially, I think that's really kind of the deadline, if you will.
Yeah. Do you think certain projects might go a little bit longer on the construction pipeline because it seems like design models that I'm coming out of the Middle East are some of them are so wild and so revolutionary. I feel like construction timeframes might be a little bit longer than what we were talking about traditional builds in like Europe, for example.
Correct. Well, they're building entire cities there. They're building entire developments there. Things
Yeah,
we don't see in many other places in the world.
like
So
New
when a
Tokyo or
what
whatever
we're
they're called. The
so when you're
administrative cities.
talking about hundreds of
Yeah.
hectares, it takes a while, okay? And it's not just a hotel, it's not just a hotel in an office building, it's a hotel, an office building, a hospital, 500 houses, 14 convenience stores, 3 gas stations, so you can add all of it up. Okay, it's really building a whole neighborhood, and
Pretty
it just
wild.
takes time.
Yes. Yeah, and we're seeing this in country after country and region after region as well. But I'm curious to break down a little bit on the cities with the biggest projects. We'll take a look at Europe first.
You would immediately ascend to these seem to be quite a few different luxury markets. Istanbul and London have continued to see some of the higher rates in the world. Um, and as we look at Dublin, Dublin is really was an independent city with not a lot of brands, and now it's really getting branded,
Yeah.
as is Hamburg too. The point here is that some of these markets didn't really have the existence of mid-scale and economy and upscale in their cities for these global brands.
Right.
So there's penetration there with that. There's no question that the franchise companies continue to see these cities as global destinations, and therefore they want to be there.
And Middle East.
So several of these markets continue to show resilience for development but also there's been a bit of a pause. We haven't really had a lot of openings there in the past year or two, and we may not have substantially a lot of openings for the next year or 18 months, but come 27, come 28, we will definitely see some growth here in new projects.
That's awesome. Bruce, one of the things that I've been thinking about is there's some sense of global economic instability out there, right? We've been talking about it a lot, and my concern is this might affect the pipeline at some point. I'm thinking maybe we should continue to have this conversation between, your quarterly reports. If you have any updates, you want to do something like that, keep our friends informed.
100%, Glenn. And, you and I have been doing that together for 20 years, Glenn.
I know.
20 years. So should we do it, Glenn? Should we bring back the Glenn and Bruce show?
Think we probably should do that.
I think it's time.
I think we should do that. A lot of exciting things coming up ahead here at No Vacancy. Getting to hang out with this guy is always the best. Bruce, before we wrap up today, how can we find you?
So on LinkedIn, Lodging Econometrics, lodgingeconometrics.com/global insights for our latest press releases. We are touring around the world right now, publishing information about new construction, renovation, and conversion pipeline. We'd love to talk to you about the opportunities that we have for you.
That's cool. I'll be touring around the world. Actually, on Thursday, I'm going to Epcot with Craig.
Sounds like a great time, Glenn. Enjoy your travels, my friend.
Yes, I'm in Orlando theoretically right now as this is airing. Not when-
Oh,
yeah.
that sounds like fun, man. Bring a jacket. I heard it's not too warm there.
Well, if I'm going to be there, it'll be hot. All right. I'm gonna leave it on that one. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Remember, you've got one life, so plays on. Goodbye, everybody.